Joining me today is Dimitri Karides out of Clearwater Beach, Florida. Out of an audience of more than 50,000 agents nationwide, Dimitri has been selected to represent Broker Agent Advisor as this month's Broker Agent of the Month for the entire state of Florida. And Dimitri, it would be an understatement to say that I've enjoyed the process of getting to know you as we kind of move forward through this recognition. And I just want to say congratulations on being recognized, and thank you so much for joining me.
Brian, thank you. Good to be with you. I enthusiastically accept the recognition, particularly working within a peer group of fellow professionals who get the job done on a daily basis, who've earned my respect as well, and who've helped me continue to hone in on my skill set. Thank you. Good to be with you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Look, this is what this recognition is all about. We're trying to shine a light on the men and women that represent them well professionally and personally as a realtor. And you, my friend, are the perfect example. And it's my hope, Dimitri, that through a few minutes of putting this video together, that people that get a chance to watch it, they get a sense for who you are and maybe a little bit about why you were selected. And man, if you're up for it, I'd just like to explore a couple questions together.
I'm up for the introduction and happy to meet with you this afternoon.
Good stuff. There's a lot of things you could be doing down there in Florida, millions of things. What was the inspiration for you to become a realtor and get in this business?
Well, Brian, my background is of a merchant background, service to others. I had a 25-year career in investment banking, and it was all about developing a financial plan for my valued clientele. It was a natural transition to go into real estate. I'm doing it about 15, 16 years now. And the draw for me was creating and developing relationships. It's all relationship driven in my mind.
I think that's the key to success in a long-term capacity in this business, right? Is taking care of others. And you know this now, you've been in this business a long time, but it's far harder than most people think. Most people that get their license do not experience success in real estate. And you live in a state where virtually everybody has a real estate license. And yet here you are 16 years later being recognized for the way you present yourself as a realtor. And I want to ask you, like, what's kept you in it all these years? What do you find most rewarding about this profession?
You know, I'm very solution oriented. And when I started with the Wall Street based firm, I got to tell you, Brian, it was, here's the yellow pages, make 100 phone calls before noon with people you don't necessarily know over the telephone. And I think the draw for me is with real estate is that I love to generate a robust program of meeting new people on a regular basis. Not only is it a joy, you have to really love it because it's imperative to succeed in the business, to have the staying power, as you alluded to. You have to be willing to reach out to others. They don't necessarily ring your phone from the beginning. And being part of the community has certainly helped me develop my practice. But more importantly, the bottom line answer is you have to enjoy what you're doing. And secondly, I thrive on building and establishing long-term relationships over and above a transaction itself.
It's funny, I remember you and I chatting about the good old days where we would throw our headset on and make 100 outbound dials a day. And it's a similar approach in real estate. It's just maybe done a little bit differently, but it takes consistent effort. I found a testimonial of yours, Dimitri, and I think it's appropriate during a video like this to read how a client of yours described going through that process with you as their realtor. It said, Dimitri Karides worked with us on the sale of our Sand Key condo. We interviewed several real estate agents, and we could not be more pleased that we selected Dimitri. He was extremely professional, proactive, and responsive throughout the entire process. Dimitri arranged for a wonderful staging of the property, as well as professional photography, and strategized and executed on thorough and well-conceived paper and electronic marketing, including a very well-attended open house. Dimitri succeeded in closing at our target price, which was at the top of the market for comparable properties, including facilitating a seamless remote closing process, which we elected to do as we no longer lived in Florida. We therefore have no reservations in recommending Dimitri. He has very deep knowledge of the Sand Key market, is a genuine pleasure to work with as someone who is such a professional. That's pretty nice. Those are pretty nice comments. And you've got a bunch of these. And this is kind of what you're talking about. This is how you aspire to make people feel, and congrats on the kind words.
thank you very much. When you're working with a client and helping them achieve their financial objectives, whether you're working with their investment portfolio or the roof over their head, uh, it's a very special relationship that you're creating, a bond of ethical standards and trust over and above what the current market might be giving us. You know, you mentioned that we live in paradise. Uh, we basically sell and work with clients who want that lifestyle. And long before they pull the trigger on a sale or a purchase, we're developing a relationship. And it's certainly easier for me in the beautiful sunny Florida to have that conversation.
That's funny. You know, I've been saying this a lot lately with all the tension and the different things we're dealing with kind of culturally across the country, but the shortest distance between two people is trust. I don't think there's a more valuable attribute than being someone others can trust. And it's clear that that's something that leads the way for you, and no doubt contributes to why you're here today. You mentioned paradise for a second time. Talk to me a little bit about what it's like to live, work, and play down there in Clearwater Beach, Florida.
It is truly a lifestyle. Paradise is the word. We have beautiful white sandy beaches, aquamarine seascapes, and it goes on and on and on, not to mention the beautiful weather, right? So we are a destination state. Lifestyle is wonderful, open, airy beaches, beautiful delicacies. If you love seafood, if you like the deep sea fish, we have a beautiful nightlife scene here in the Tampa Bay area. Clearwater Beach is always in the top 10 beaches of the world. It's not only a pleasure for me, but many times, I'll tell you a brief story that made a lot of sense. Had a prospective client call me one afternoon. We met for a quick cocktail and lunch, and they were on their way out of Clearwater Beach for their first time. And they called me back a week later and said, Dimitri, we're going to return to Clearwater Beach. Do you think we could piggyback on your lifestyle for a long weekend? Well, absolutely they did. And the long weekend was extended from a Friday to a Monday, from a Friday to a Wednesday and Thursday. That's how much enjoyment. But they wanted to see what I do on my daily basis over and above the job, right?
Sure.
And that was impactful for them, because the due diligence, part of the due diligence process on a purchase when you're working on behalf of a buyer, or even a seller for that matter, but from a buyer perspective, you're really trying to give them an accurate assessment and a picture of, what am I going to do at 8 o'clock? Well, guess what we did? We went to my favorite coffee house. We started with an iced cappuccino, and we hit our favorite beach. And by the end of the week, we returned to their favorite two beaches they had seen the first 3 days. And then we go into dinner time and this and that. So I think a client really, when they can get a good picture of their surroundings over and above the specific property. And when we talk demographics, you know, the sunset's coming up about 6:30, 6:45. Let's make our way to the beach to enjoy a beautiful sunset. And by the way, what is your favorite food choice? And that's where they really go back home saying, okay, we feel much more comfortable executing the purchase. And that goes beyond the specific property itself, right? So people begin to feel a beautiful vibe. And the other item is, if it's not specific to what they want, they begin to tweak the wish list. And now we've been able to sort of spend additional time on specific areas of the beaches. Maybe it's Clearwater Beach. Maybe it's a few miles south into Treasure Island. There's where the client appreciates that due diligence that doesn't show up on the prospectus or on the MLS marketing information. So that exceeds the average due diligence that most people spend.
I think it's fantastic. I hadn't really thought about it. Been to Florida many times, like many people in the US. I know Florida as what we do, staying at the resort for 5 to 7 days and playing at the beach all day and going out to eat that night. But you know, what would we be doing if we weren't going to the beach every day because we're not on vacation? What would life be like if we lived here every day? And so Not surprised that you put in the extra effort. I think that's a really well painted picture of things to consider if you're considering Florida as a place to call home or even have a second home. And yeah, I think you're fantastic. I think the industry is lucky to have you. I want to ask you one more question.
Thank you.
We've established that the business can be tough. It's been especially hard the last couple of years. We've had unprecedented low inventory on the back end of a global pandemic. And so now we've got elevating interest rates, and I think there are going to be a lot of agents kind of struggling to figure out exactly where they fit. And I think a lot of people, frankly, Dimitri, could benefit from leaning into your experience. And so I want to ask you, if you were to offer one piece of advice to a peer in this business, what would that one piece of advice be?
Collaborate with fellow professionals. Show up to the office in what is a vibrant, conducive environment to do good business. Utilize that mentor relationship that creates a culture of positivity when you get back in the car to meet that client on a listing appointment. You noted about low inventory. Some of the obstacles we deal with, some are cyclical of nature. I'm a numbers-driven person just based on my background. I mentioned I'm a merchant, came up through an asset management division of an investment banking firm. But I think it makes sense. The kind of questions we get in the marketplace, whether it's a cyclical, fundamental market changes going on, as you said, where Florida specifically, we've been inundated and our inventory, our supply does not meet the appetite or the demand side of the equation. Currently, up till recently, we've been below equilibrium. So we don't have a lot of inventory. So be prepared to be able to provide a short answer of what the market is doing and be prepared to expand on that. That'll help you strategically working on behalf of your buyer or your seller, and it'll put your client in a much better position to take advantage of market fluctuation at that. So my answer would be mentor, show up to the office, collaborative effort with fellow professionals. And I'll tell you, that'll create a vibrant, conducive environment for success.
I love it. It's an absolute privilege for me to spend a few minutes shining a light on you. You represent the industry well, and I just want to say congratulations again on being recognized, my friend, and I wish you nothing but joy and abundance on the rest of your journey.
Brian, thank you and broker and agent advisor for the acknowledgement. I'm honored, specifically working with so many professionals throughout the country. And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure of mine as well. Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.